This is truly the end of the superheroes. After defeating Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Avengers, the target has now set his sights on the X-Men. He's tied Professor X to a chair, facing his nemesis, who once had him committed to a mental hospital, ready to play his twisted game. Surrounding them are screens showing live feeds of all the X-Men's deaths. Indeed, he wants the professor to witness his beloved students dying one by one in their attempts to save him. Cyclops unleashed his optic blast, but unexpectedly, a glob of red gel suddenly flew out and enveloped his head. The gel quickly solidified, and as Cyclops tried to break free by releasing a shockwave, it backfired, causing an explosion that obliterated him and his nearby teammates. Meanwhile, the rest of the team fell into deadly traps, being reduced to ashes, while Magneto plunged into a vat of acidic gel, corroding into a desiccated corpse, and Shadowcat found herself trapped in a mental prison, unable to escape, until her immediate demise, all visible in the control room. Professor X watched in horror as his students and friends met their gruesome ends one after another, shedding tears of remorse and regret, cursing himself for not having eliminated this madman sooner, vowing to no longer tolerate this monster's rampage, determined to invade the villain's mind and end this once and for all. But the moment he entered the villain's consciousness, he was shocked to his core, as he witnessed the truth behind everything, a reality he couldn't accept. This entire world was merely a comic drawn for the entertainment of its creators. Just then, Wolverine, having regenerated from the previous explosion, arrived on the scene once more, intent on making the villain pay for his crimes. But as he burst through the door, he was confronted with a horrifying sight. The tortured and mangled forms of the young X-23 clones, captured by the villain, their bodies constantly monitored by computers, programmed to detect any sign of healing, at which point flames would engulf them, burning them to a crisp once more, in an endless cycle of agony. Wolverine let out a feral roar, his bestial side taking over, as he lunged at the villain with all his might. The villain, armed with a blade infused with a healing factor, engaged Wolverine in combat. Their brutal fight ensued. He also revealed the truth about the Wolverine world. Wolverine, did you think your resurrections were due to your body's healing factor? Your mutant abilities aren't actually in your body at all, but in your popularity. But don't worry, even the highest popularity won't save you this time. All X-Men have perished. Meanwhile, the commissioned Mimic Master began searching for the corpse's whereabouts. He tracked it to Doctor Strange's home. When he opened the door, he was stunned by the sight before him. Doctor Strange had been turned into a sacrificial offering, with the King's body in the corner. It turned out the corpse was at Doctor Strange's residence, having discovered a way to access other parallel universes. Vaguely, the Mimic Master sensed something amiss. As superheroes continued to die, the world fell into chaos. During this time, the corpse used the Puppet Master to orchestrate a massive battle between heroes and villains, resulting in the deaths of many heroes in the chaos. Not just Earth, but the entire universe was in a dire state. Shadow Man, Galactus, and even Thanos, these cosmic-level powerhouses, couldn't escape the corpse's slaughter. Finally, in a swamp, the Mimic Master found the corpse. The two squared off, brandishing their weapons. As the fight progressed, the Mimic Master's muscle memory kicked in. He could perfectly replicate the corpse's movements. They fought to a standstill. Just as he was about to predict the corpse's next move, a hint of fear crept into his heart. The corpse exploited this fear, allowing an android to ambush him. After defeating the Mimic Master, the android looked at the corpse. He understood the corpse's thoughts and grasped its ultimate grand goal. So he chose self-preservation, opening the door to a multiverse for the corpse. Here, he saw versions of himself from other parallel universes, each with different fates. Finally arriving at the center of the world, he emerged from a green light into the comic book editorial office of the real world. Comic publications were strewn about his feet. He followed the light to a room where the lights were bright inside. An author was intensely discussing the ending of this comic. Suddenly he turned to look at you through the screen. You see him holding a steel knife with an evil smirk, as if to say, "Don't worry, once I deal with these clowns, you're next."